Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today I'm going to show you loads of different Nintendo controllers working on the Nintendo Switch. So we're going to go right the way back to the early 1980s and start with the NES, and then we're going to go through each console up to modern day. So I'm going to show you the controller working, a game, and also the setup that you need. Now, none of these controllers, apart from obviously the modern day Nintendo Switch ones, will work with the Nintendo Switch natively. You have to use adapters and converters to get them to work. But nevertheless, these are all original controllers, and they will all work on the Nintendo Switch by using one or more adapters. So let's get started. The NES controller, that stands for Nintendo Entertainment System. Very simple controller with limited buttons, but nevertheless it does work. Now, to get this to work, we need to plug it into an NES to USB converter. That particular one is made by Mayflash, and then that goes into a Cronus Max. And then the Cronus Max goes into a Brook converter, that's a PS4 to Wii U Brook converter, and then all of that gets plugged into a USB power supply, and that works via Bluetooth back to the Nintendo Switch. So obviously the controller itself is a wired controller, but as long as we're within Bluetooth range of the Switch, then we don't have to be physically plugged into the Switch. Right, let me show you Pac-Man working on this one. Oops, just got me. Right, there we go, on to the next one. The SNES controller, that stands for Super Nintendo Entertainment System. This controller is so much more usable than the NES one because it's got two extra face buttons here, the Y and the X, and we've also got two shoulder buttons here, right and left. And because of that, we can use it on now a wide variety of Nintendo Switch games, especially the old Neo Geo games. So let me just show you Metal Slug 3. And the setup, if you're wondering, is exactly the same as the last one on the NES because that Mayflash adapter, that first one, does NES and SNES. Right, okay, so let's move on to the next one. This is the controller from the Nintendo 64. So it's still a wired controller, but you can tell by the design that it is completely different than the previous two controllers you've seen in the video. We now also have the addition of an analog stick. Now, if you're wondering how to connect this one up, it's very similar to before, apart from now we've changed the first adapter. So the adapter we need here is an N64 to USB adapter. Again, this is made by Mayflash. Right, let's play Mario Kart. So I can use a D-pad now, I can also use the left analog stick. Okay, so you get the idea on that one. The Nintendo GameCube controller, so we're still wired. This controller sits really nice in the hand, and we've got a good arrangement of buttons so we can play plenty of Nintendo Switch games on this, and it's really easy to set up. All we need is a GameCube to Wii U adapter. So this is a third-party one here made by GameSeek. I've also got a Mayflash one that works, and the official Nintendo one works as well. So you just need to plug that into a spare USB port on your Nintendo Switch, and then it just starts working. That's as simple as that. Right, let's have a look at Street Fighter on this one. . 。 Let's move on. The Nintendo Wii Controller, also known as a Wii Mote. Now, this controller here was different than all the other controllers because it is wireless, so we're no longer tethered to the console via a cable. And also on the original Wii as well, it had motion control, so you could point around the screen and it did loads of different things that none of the controllers did before. So it was a real change for Nintendo. Now, when you connect it up to the Nintendo Switch, you're going to be using it just like a standard controller. There is no motion control on this, and we can't point and aim and shoot at anything or select anything via the way you did it when you had the Nintendo Wii. But we still have it wireless and we still have vibration in this as well. So it is pretty good. Now, I'm going to be using it in this video in this configuration here. If you want more buttons, then what you can do is you can connect a nunchuck to the bottom of it, and then you will have a left analog stick and a couple of shoulder buttons. If you want more buttons again, then you can connect up a classic controller or a classic controller Pro, and this will nearly have all the buttons that the Nintendo Switch has, apart from things like the left click and the right clicking on the analog stick, and also the capture button for videos and photos. This is a third-party one. It does work. You will have to watch my other videos to see those work, and I'm just going to show you in this one here working in this orientation. Now, to get this to work, what you need to do is you need to have a Cronus Max and you need to have a Bluetooth dongle plugged into the Cronus Max. So the Wiimote is connecting up with the Cronus Max via that Bluetooth dongle. The Cronus Max recognised the signal and it's passing it on to the Wii U Brook converter, and then the Wii U Brook converter is connected to the Nintendo Switch via Bluetooth. So for the first time in this video now, we do have a wireless controller here, but it's not communicating directly with the Switch, it's going via the adapters to connect with the Switch. Now, a lot of people when I did this video before seem to be convinced that it's fake. Now, I don't know how to prove that it's not fake, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go down to test input devices and I'm going to spam the buttons, because so many people seem to think that I've got someone else in the room that's controlling this instead of me controlling it. So I'm going to spam the buttons, and hopefully you will then realise that by the quickness that I'm doing it, that somebody else wouldn't be able to keep up with me. So let's just zoom in a bit here. So you can see now I'm just doing random clicks. So if somebody else was in the room trying to do this instead of me, then they're not going to be able to do the same as me. Right, okay, let me show you Mario Kart working. So this vibrates as well, so hopefully every now and then you will hear it vibrating. And the good thing as well, even though it's going through those adapters, it does actually work really well and there's very little lag in it. I'm using the trigger at the back to drift around the corners, and I'm going to be using this A button here to do my power-ups and my weapons and stuff. Hopefully you can hear that vibrating. And then obviously we have this one here for brake and back as well. Just forward and then back, and then to use my weapon, and that one to drift. Right, okay, let's get on to the next one. The Wii U Pro controller. So this is a controller you can use on your Nintendo Wii U system, and this works really well on the Nintendo Switch, and we only need to buy one adapter, and that is a Mayflash Magic NS adapter. It costs under 20 UK pounds and it works really well. All we have to do is plug it into the side of the dock and then press the little sync button on it, press the sync button on your Wii U gamepad, that little red button there, and then it syncs up with each other, and now this will work wirelessly. So let me just show you Zelda working. Now you can do pretty much everything on here, including taking pictures by hitting these two at the same time. You see there, capture taken. Now it hasn't got motion control, so you're still not going to have the full range of things that you would have, for example, on the Joy-Cons or if you were using the proper Nintendo Switch Pro controller. But if you have a look now, you can see everything on this works really well. It's really responsive. Okay. So there we go, that's the Wii U Pro controller. Now, of course, lastly we have the Joy-Cons and also the Pro controller. Now these are obviously going to be the best things to use on the Nintendo Switch because they're made for the Nintendo Switch and they've got things on there that none of the other things will have. For example, we've got HD Rumble on there, we've got an NFC reader built in here or an NFC reader built in here so you can use your amiibos on it. We've also got motion control, which is going to be really handy on some games as well. So we've got motion control on here. We've also got motion control on our Joy-Cons as well. So out of all of them, the best ones to use are the Joy-Cons in the Joy-Con grip or the Nintendo Switch Pro controller. But all the others, it's still fun to be able to connect them up. So that's what this video is about. It was just purely a challenge to see if I could connect up all the Nintendo controllers throughout the years on the Nintendo Switch. Now I hope you enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it and please subscribe for more how-to videos. Take care, bye now.